please go ahead and use the hand raise function to ask your questions. You may also add your questions to the chat to be read aloud. We're going ahead and start with some of our pre-submitted questions, and then we'll move to questions from the room. Okay. All right, we're going to start with a question from Valcom. How has the experience from 2022 helped you with, or 2023, helped you with preparation for this season compared to other Ascension teams?
I think the 2023 season was pretty challenging for us, in game situations and out. I think we went through some difficulties. My mic cut out, actually. Is it okay? Okay. I think I hear it back. It just cut out for a second. All right, I'll restart my question.
Of course.
I think the 2023 season for us kind of gave us some resiliency and a lot of maturing as a team and as individuals. We went through a lot of hardships outside of the game that we really couldn't control, and through that we learned how to keep like a strong mental fortitude and keep pushing. And you can kind of translate that throughout a season when you're winning, when you're losing. And also in game, I think we got some valuable experience going to Brazil and playing in front of a crowd, winning in front of a crowd. Like we kind of got that taste of what it's like. And from now, it's just kind of honing in on that and trying to continue learning and growing together and just trying to get better year by year.
Great. And we have another pre-submitted question here from Sportskeeda. After all the roster moves made within the Americas teams, which teams do you think look the strongest, and which ones would you love to face off against?
Instantly what comes to mind when we talk about like roster mania during the offseason is NRG. They picked up Ethan and Demon One from the champions winning roster. So that's obviously a really strong team. And then you throw in a good coach and good supporting staff and you have a deadly team. So I'm very excited to face off against them. I think they have one of the strongest teams going into Americas. Also, I have to mention Leviathan as well because they made some blockbuster moves, getting Ospas, getting Hex, from my previous teammate, and I know how good he is and his work ethic. So he'll be a great addition to that team and kind of that molding piece for that roster. So I think they both of those teams really made some of the best moves. In terms of my personal aspirations, I definitely want to compete against Loud this year. I've loved playing. I loved watching them compete and loved watching them, uh, win champions and just to have that opportunity to showcase my talent against theirs is going to be super exciting for me. So I can't wait.
Great. We have another pre-submitted here. As the newest team in the 2024 Americas League, have you or your team been feeling any pressure about performing on the stage?
I think it's hard to talk about pressure just because I think most of the time it comes up in the moment. It's hard to kind of feel that leading up. At least for us, leading up to it, we just have the mindset of, hey, we're the Ascension team, and we know like personally that we can compete at this level. But in terms of like pressure or external pressure or uh, like being expected to win, we don't really have that on our shoulders right now. So we're going in pretty free, uh, a lot of excitement, and hey, we're the rookies, so you shouldn't lose to us, right? That's our mindset.
Okay, we have one more pre-submitted question here, and then we'll move to questions from the room. And that would be perfect. What makes you unique as an IGL?
I think something that makes me unique as an IGL is my ability to adapt in game. A lot of people can talk about like outside of the game factors, and I try to be a great leader outside of the game. And I do notice my flaws as well. Like outside of the game, maybe my leadership isn't up to par as some of the other great IGLs in the league. Or when you think of great IGLs, I am pretty young, but I'm trying to like hone in on that. But something that makes me unique, I would say, is like my ability to just adapt in game. I feel like you can throw me any comp, play against any comp or any style, and I'll always like give answer on how to beat that, even if it's wrong. Like I think I speak pretty confidently, and I really do think confidently that I have the answer just from my experience playing Valorant. Like I think I understand how comps work, agents work, and what is the win condition for us to be able to consistently beat that. And with that said, obviously you're still going to go through losses. Like you're not always going to have the right answer, or even if you do, you lose. But I try to make sure my team is confident going into rounds. Like, hey, Jake knows what to do here. Like, let's execute this well, and we're going to have a great shot of winning this game or winning this round. Um, yeah, I would say that's what makes me.
Great. We'll go ahead and move to questions from the room now. We'll get started with Scott from Esports.
Hi, thank you. Good to see you, Valyn. My question for you is actually, so back when you guys first got together on the guard, this is about like, I believe it's like late 2021, you guys went into 2022 season. You have a lot of experience. So you guys have a lot of experience of sort of coming together, new group, not a lot of familiarity with each other. And then you were essentially tasked with competing in tier one. We kind of see that right now with kind of the new Evil Geniuses roster. You know, a lot of that roster outside of Jajmo and Derek, not a lot of VCT experience. They're all just sort of being thrown together very last second. Um, what sort of struggles do you see them going through when they're a new roster and they immediately have to jump in against very high tier competition?
Yeah, I mean, those players individually on EG, I think have all have experience playing against the high level, and it's really just feeling that game or that level of gameplay and being able to adapt to that. So I think they won't have struggles in terms of playing against the competition level, but because they're so new and because yeah, they just don't have as much time in preparation. They could face like some early struggles of, hey, maybe we just didn't have enough time to work on this comp or get our chemistry down to a T. But I think those guys, I mean, I know a lot of them personally, so I know that they vibe well outside of the game, which will always translate inside. And so I think regardless of not much experience in VCT or new team, that you can't count them out. And those players have the talent, and if they come together with a great coach like Potter, then they can make anything work. So I, the challenges I see them facing are just kind of bumps and bruises as any team forming early would have. Not specifically tailored because they don't have the VCT experience. I don't really value experience like that. Like, we saw a lot of players, even Demon One didn't have experience. He came and was the best player in the league. So can't put experience on a pedestal.
Scott, you can go ahead with your follow-up.
Thank you. Completely different direction with this question. You spent a lot of time on the desk for VCT doing analyst work. Has that experience sort of shifted the way you look at preparing for teams or looking at different strats? Was there anything significantly that you learned while being on the desk has affected your ability to or enhance your ability to be an IG?
Yeah, at the time, I would say I remember even talking to my coach about it, just being on the desk and really analyzing the game in that level with others around you, like other analysts, kind of gives you a broader um like perspective on teams and just styles in general, not really related to the specific team, but just how teams like to play or how individuals like to play. What are some tendencies we see? Um, and I would say it gave me a little bit of like a knowledge boost in that, just because I can kind of sense like, obviously, me as an IGL, I have my way of playing the game or vision of the game. But when you analyze a lot of VCT matches, especially high importance ones, versus with all different style teams, you can kind of see like, okay, what beats what. Um, is the team playing too aggressive versus this comp, and their style doesn't work versus this? You can kind of go through a lot of situations, and I would say, yeah, it gave me a bit of a knowledge boost. And it was also very fun. I really enjoyed being on the desk just because I get to show like the talent side of me, I guess, or like broadcast side, where I can like speak on things that I'm passionate about, and I really enjoyed that. And at the same time, it gave me um, another perspective on competitive Valorant.
Thank you, and congrats on making VCT.
Thank you.
Right. Chitaku?
Okay. Hello, Valyn. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. First of all, congratulate you for the promotion to VCT. And my question is about how the team is. During the off season, you showed a result that people did not like. Do you feel that this year you will show a level like in the BCL or better, or do you feel that this first game will be to finish the adaptation process?
Yeah, I know we had a bit of a rough off season when we first formed the team. I'm not really too worried about that or bringing that result into any merit or weight just because I know deep down like we weren't ready for that event in terms of in-game preparation, people being informed, everything. We just formed the team. We just got our fifth player like maybe a week and a half before that game. And so I don't really put any weight into that result, honestly. And going into VCT, I expect us to have a better showing than we had in challengers. I expect that. I know we won challengers, but I really do think that with this roster, we can be at the top of VCT making the international events too. I think something that we need to get better at as a team that'll elevate us forward really is just the mental fortitude because these other teams are never going to let up. They're never going to give it to you, and you're playing against a higher level competition. So, in order to make up for that, you got to be able to stomach losses or stomach like hard round losses because some of these players are inevitably going to get 4Ks or big rounds to win their team the game. And how do you come back from that and continue pushing forward throughout the series is what's going to dictate us from, making the international events versus being at the bottom of the league. And I think that we understand what's ahead of us and we know how to prep for that. So I'm expecting good results, honestly, and I'm not too worried about the past.
Okay, thank you and good luck this kickoff and the all season.
Thank you so much.
Right. Last call for any additional questions. Ichimon?
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. Hi, how you doing? I'm
Hi.
sorry.
Good, good. How are you?
I'm just a little bit nervous. Okay. Jacob, is it fine if I called you Jacob?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I'm from Colombia, so obviously I do have a spot in my heart for crew. So I'm just wondering how you feeling about that match and how are your like expectations and also what do you think about all or like Latin America people from who are involved in all of this like esport world? That's it.
Okay. I'll start off your question by answering how I feel going into the crew match. I would say it's our first debut of VCT, so obviously there's a lot of excitement, right? I can't wait to step on stage, and play the game with all that energy. Playing the game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Ascension versus playing online like was a huge night and day difference for me, especially. And I love like being in the atmosphere. So a lot of excitement. And in terms of preparation, I mean, it's the first game, so we don't have any footage on them. They really don't have footage on us. So it just comes down to who's a better team, who has the preparation internally, and who's in better form to take on that first win. I think Crew is a great opponent, and they have very, very strong firepower on that roster. So we're gonna have to be shooting nicely if we want to compete versus them. So uh, that's a big focus point for us is trying to be able to shut down a player like Kesnet, who's a star player who can just take over. And lastly, the question about how do I feel about Latin America Valorant? I went to I went to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and just kind of experiencing that culture and that like passion for the game and that like community was really special to me. And I think the fan base is incredible just because it kind of feels like that brotherhood that they come together to watch their favorite teams play. So I think it's very, very cool to see. And
Amen.
yeah, it's not much more than that. It's just very nice to see that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you for joining us as well. Good luck on kickoff and to the rest of the season. For everyone else, please stay in the Zoom. We have some scrums coming up later today and some other interviews. So we'll see you shortly.
Thank you.